Picture this. A teenager stands in their kitchen, phone in one hand, filming with another device. They place their $1,000 iPhone in the microwave, close the door, and press start. 5 seconds later, sparks, smoke, and the sickening realization they've just incinerated their most prized possession. All because someone on the internet told them it would charge faster. This isn't fiction. This happened. Hundreds of times. We live in the most information-rich era in human history, where nearly all of humanity's knowledge is accessible within seconds. Yet somehow we're witnessing an epidemic of what can only be called digital gullibility. Today on Factopia, we're diving into the 10 most dangerous internet myths people not only believed, but actually tried, often with catastrophic results. These aren't just dumb ideas. They're case studies in how viral misinformation can cause real physical harm. Let's start with the myth that fried both phones and common sense. 1. Microwave your iPhone to charge it. In 2014, after Apple released iOS 8, a professionally designed fake ad appeared online claiming a new Wave feature allowed iPhones to rapid charge in microwave ovens. The fake claimed that iOS 8 contains new drivers that interface with your device's radio baseband, allowing it to synchronize with microwave frequencies and use them to recharge your battery. It sounded scientific enough to fool thousands. Police departments and fire stations across America had to issue public warnings after responding to multiple microwave fires. One teenager in Michigan burned down his entire kitchen. A college student in Boston suffered second-degree burns trying to rescue his phone mid-meltdown. Tech support forums were flooded with the devastating question, "I microwaved my iPhone and now it doesn't work. Can I get a replacement under warranty?" The answer was universally, no, you cannot. 2. The Cinnamon Challenge. The Cinnamon Challenge wasn't just dumb, it was potentially deadly. The challenge was simple. Swallow a tablespoon of ground cinnamon without water in under 60 seconds. Sounds easy? It's physically impossible. Cinnamon contains cellulose fibers, basically powdered tree bark, that absorb all moisture in your mouth, leaving you choking on what feels like sawdust. At its peak in 2012, poison control centers reported over 200 cinnamon-related emergencies in a single month. 30 teenagers were hospitalized with collapsed lungs after the spice was inhaled into their respiratory systems. Dr. Stephen Lipshultz from the University of Miami School of Medicine published a study showing the challenge could trigger asthma attacks, permanent lung scarring, and in severe cases, pneumonia. All this suffering for what? 5 seconds of internet fame and a YouTube video of someone looking like a distressed dragon. 3. Lick a 9-volt battery for fun. Just touch it to your tongue. It feels like Pop Rocks. That's how millions of people were introduced to the harmless fun of licking 9-volt batteries. The electrical current created by touching both terminals to your tongue creates a mild shock and metallic taste. What most people don't realize is that 9-volt batteries are essentially fire starters. The same battery that gives you that fun tingle can ignite steel wool instantly. When stored improperly with metal objects, they've caused house fires. In 2018, a 12-year-old in Florida suffered severe tongue burns after attempting a battery challenge that encouraged kids to place the battery on a wet tongue for as long as possible. The Poison Control Center reports approximately 3,500 battery-related injuries annually, many from this harmless party trick. Even worse, the electric shock can cause involuntary muscle contractions. One man fractured his jaw when the shock made him bite down suddenly. Another chipped 2 teeth. That tingly sensation? It's literal electrical burns happening on your tongue. 4. Drink bleach to detox. This isn't just the dumbest internet myth, it's the most dangerous. Around 2006, a product called Miracle Mineral Solution, or MMS, began circulating in alternative health communities. Its proponents claimed it could cure everything from cancer to HIV to autism. The miracle ingredient? Industrial bleach, sodium chlorite, mixed with an acid to create chlorine dioxide. The FDA has issued multiple warnings since 2010, but the myth persists. In 2019, an investigation found over 60,000 bottles sold through a church organization that promoted it as a sacrament. Victims have suffered intestinal bleeding, liver failure, and fatal respiratory issues. In one horrifying case, parents were found administering bleach enemas to children with autism, believing it would flush out the toxins causing the disorder. Social media platforms have tried to remove content promoting MMS, but it keeps resurfacing under new names like chlorine dioxide solution or water purification drops. This isn't just gullibility, it's desperation exploited by dangerous pseudoscience. 5. Skittles and soda explosion. After the wildly popular Mentos and Diet Coke experiments went viral, people started looking for the next big reaction. Enter the Skittles bomb. The myth claimed that dropping Skittles into a sealed bottle of soda would create a colorful, powerful explosion. In reality, the sugar in Skittles does create gas when mixed with carbonated drinks, but slowly. The danger came from people sealing bottles tight, shaking them vigorously, and then standing directly over them to film the explosion. Emergency rooms reported dozens of facial injuries from plastic shrapnel, and these homemade pressure bombs detonated unpredictably. One high school chemistry teacher in Texas used this myth as a teaching moment after 3 students in his district suffered eye injuries. His demonstration showed that the pressure could launch a bottle cap at over 40 minutes and karai, enough force to cause permanent eye damage. The science lesson? Don't create sealed pressure vessels unless you're prepared to collect your teeth from across the room. 6. Steam inhalation with Vicks to clean your lungs. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a dangerous myth spread claiming you could disinfect your lungs by inhaling steam with Vicks VapoRub. The posts, often shared by well-meaning relatives, claimed the menthol would kill the virus and the steam would wash out toxins. Let's be crystal clear. Your lungs are not a bathroom tile. They cannot be steam cleaned. Vicks VapoRub's own label explicitly warns for external use only. When heated and inhaled directly, its oils can cause lipoid pneumonia, where fat particles enter the lungs and cause potentially fatal inflammation. Between March and July 2020, burn centers across America reported a 30% increase in facial scalding injuries from people hovering over boiling water containing mentholated products. Dr. Maria Vargas of Johns Hopkins University noted, "We saw patients who gave themselves chemical burns in their airways attempting these steam treatments. Your respiratory system is delicate tissue, not plumbing." 7. Set yourself on fire for the clout. The fire challenge represents perhaps the lowest point of internet challenge culture. The premise: pour alcohol or another flammable liquid on your body, light yourself on fire, and rush to extinguish the flames before suffering serious injury, all while filming. This trend peaked around 2014 but horrifyingly resurfaces every few years. The results are exactly what any rational person would expect: severe burns, hospitalization, and in several tragic cases, death. In 2018, a 12-year-old girl from Detroit suffered second and third-degree burns over 49% of her body. A 15-year-old in Kentucky died after his entire torso was engulfed in flames. Fire doesn't follow rules. It doesn't care about your TikTok followers. And unlike in movies, flames don't politely extinguish when you want them to. What's particularly disturbing is how these videos spread, each viewing potentially inspiring another young person to attempt the challenge, creating a cycle of self-harm for digital validation. 8. The Benadryl Challenge. In 2020, a particularly dangerous trend emerged on TikTok: the Benadryl Challenge, which encouraged teens to take excessive doses of the antihistamine to induce hallucinations. The myth claimed that taking 12-14 tablets would cause a legal high with trippy visuals. What it actually caused was heart attacks. Diphenhydramine, the active ingredient in Benadryl, can cause cardiac arrhythmias, seizures, and death when taken in high doses. At least 3 teenagers were hospitalized with heart problems, and a 15-year-old in Oklahoma died after attempting the challenge. Johnson & Johnson, the manufacturer, had to release emergency statements warning about misuse. TikTok scrambled to remove videos, but not before the dangerous misinformation spread. What many did not realize is that the gap between enough to hallucinate and enough to die is dangerously narrow with this common household medication. 9. Vacuum challenge. The vacuum challenge or bin bag challenge involved people climbing into large trash bags while someone else used a vacuum cleaner to suck out all the air, essentially shrink-wrapping themselves. The results were supposed to be hilarious. Instead, they were dangerous. When air is removed from around the body, the bag creates a compression effect that can restrict blood flow and breathing. Several people reported numbness and tingling from circulation being cut off. Others experienced panic attacks when they couldn't breathe properly. Most alarmingly, once sealed in the bag, you're completely immobilized and dependent on others to free you. If the person filming decides to prank you by leaving you there, or if they can't quickly tear the bag open, you're at risk of suffocation. Emergency physician Dr. Robert Glatter noted, "This is essentially a full-body tourniquet. We've seen patients with nerve damage from as little as 20 minutes of this pressure." 10. The honey bear challenge. Our final myth involves something seemingly innocent: honey. In 2021, the honey bear challenge encouraged people to fill plastic honey bears with boiling hot honey and squeeze them into their mouths. The claim? The hot honey would give you perfectly plump lips by causing controlled swelling. The reality? Second-degree burns of the mouth, tongue, and throat. Honey can reach temperatures well over 200 degrees when heated, and the thin plastic of honey bear containers isn't designed to handle boiling liquids. Several victims reported the bottles melting or bursting, causing severe chest and facial burns. Burns in the mouth and throat are particularly dangerous as the swelling can obstruct airways. At least 2 people required emergency intubation when their throats swelled shut after attempting this beauty hack. Dermatologist Dr. Sandra Lee, known as Dr. Pimple Popper, called this possibly the worst DIY beauty treatment I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. The internet has given us incredible access to knowledge, and an equally incredible platform for dangerous stupidity. These myths spread for the same psychological reasons. They promise magic solutions. They appear to have social proof when we see others trying them, and they exploit our tendency to trust information we see repeatedly. Before you try anything you see online, ask yourself 3 questions. Does this defy basic science? Would legitimate experts recommend this? What's the worst that could happen? The answers might save you from becoming another cautionary tale. Comment below with the dumbest internet myth you've come across. Or better yet, one you almost fell for but thought better of. Remember, in the battle between viral content and common sense, choose common sense every time. This is Factopia, where we fight dangerous stupidity with facts, one viral myth at a time.